Gentlemen, well, ladies and gentlemen, it is officially time for the 2022 Stanley Cup Final. Avalanche and Lightning. It's finally here, a little later than usual, but better late than never. We're still recovering from the COVID off-put schedule, but as always, welcome to episode 21 of Pucks and Brews. I am your host, Mike Sparacino, as always, joined by Brandon Wojno, and today we have our good friend Liam Gotimer back on the show, who just moved to North Carolina about a round and a half ago of these playoffs. So Liam, welcome. How's the new place?
Thank you, Shades. Thank you, Woj, for having me on. And it's really good. I mean, it's been north of 90 degrees pretty much every single day I've been here. So you can't handle the heat. I guess North Carolina's not the place. But you mentioned that a couple of rounds ago is when I moved. It's crazy. I moved the day of, and then the Rangers were playing the Hurricanes. So that was definitely awesome to come down here and be in opposing territory.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, dude. I want to get out of the city so badly, but
every New Yorker goes to Carolina, either north or south, it seems like.
Or Florida.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's some New Yorkers here. Most of the area is really, people who, like Woj said, came down. So.
Yeah, I believe it. Hey, just don't move out to California because things are even more expensive there. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but everyone, welcome. I actually have a surprise for you two at the end of the video, so I'll let you two think about what it is. I guarantee you're not going to get it, but here we go. So obviously, we just got through the conference finals. I want to talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about Colorado and Edmonton first, because, well, frankly, there's not really much to talk about. Colorado basically killed Edmonton because Mike Smith couldn't stop a beach ball. And yeah, Liam, I'm going to throw this one to you. What do you have to say about that series?
Well, yeah, there's nobody who will put more hate on Mike Smith's name than me. I don't think that he's a very good goaltender. I've never thought he's been a very good goaltender. But I will say this. The reason the Edmonton Oilers lost this series was not because of Mike Smith. I think if they had Andrei Vasilevskiy in net, they don't win that series. I think if they have Andrei Vasilevskiy in net, they probably lose in 5 or 6. That's how good the Colorado Avalanche are. They're just an unstoppable force. And the Edmonton Oilers, they had a little bit of a wonky road to the conference finals, right? They beat the LA Kings in 7. They had to come back from a 3-2 series deficit in order to do so. And they took out the Calgary Flames, who, in my opinion, just vastly underachieved. So, the series wasn't particularly close, but for people saying that this series is because Mike Smith didn't perform well, I simply disagree. I don't think any goaltender on any other team, probably in these playoffs, probably outside of the current Tampa Bay Lightning, has had a chance of beating the Colorado Avalanche. So.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to rag on Mike Smith and call him a fraud because that's just been the funny thing to do. Woj, what do you have to say?
He's had that hot streak that he had in Arizona. Probably in 2013 it was
2012.
2012, yeah, when they played I don't know who they played back then, but he had that hot streak, and then ever since then he's just been mediocre and okay. He plays the puck well. Actually, no, he doesn't. He tries to play the puck too much, and he used to do it pretty well. Now he just seems like he just fumbles it, or he just can't even stop the goal from the other blue line. I really think they lose it just because of they don't have that much depth, and they don't really have like a solid deep pairing. I think Darnell Nurse is hurt with some type of groin injury the whole series. But even then, you have to have you can't rely on Duncan Keith, who's not Duncan Keith as he was when he was in the Hawks. They have a lot of issues, but to blame Mike Smith, I don't blame you. But they definitely could have had a better roster. They win that series either way with Vasilevskiy or anybody else.
I agree. Edmonton definitely vastly overachieved. Just like Liam said, Calgary was on the other side, vastly underachieved. But I still think Calgary would have lost anyway. So this is one round of a playoff difference that it's kind of a moot point. So let's move on to the heartbreak, as a lot of people are saying. And I would have to agree because I'm also a Rangers fan. But the Lightning beat the Rangers in 6 after the Rangers came out on fire with a 2-0 lead. And then just like everything goes to shit. But I was happy to be along for the ride. and it was unfortunate that we lost in the fashion that we did. But Liam, what are your thoughts on the series?
Well, I'll just say straight away, if you would have told me before the season that the Rangers would finish top 2 in the Metro, win a Game 7 on home ice, win a Game 7 away from home ice, and go all the way to the Eastern Conference Final, pushing the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions to 6 games, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. But Shades, like you mentioned, just because it's such a recent wound, right? And you got so far, and Shades and Woj, I know you guys know this. Every hockey fan does. Certainly every Ranger fan does. You don't know the next time you're going to get back here. You don't know the next time you're going to have a chance to go and win a Stanley Cup. Now, luckily for the Rangers, they have a terrific roster, a young roster that's only going to grow. So I think we will be back here pretty soon. But it was pretty soul crushing to go up 2-0 in that series. In Game 2, we had the shift. I watched it over and over and over. You know, I'm sure you guys did as well. And just in Game 3, once Ryan Strome went down in the middle of Game 3, once we gave up the lead and then Tampa went on to win the game, that's when the series ended because the momentum went on their side. The Rangers weren't healthy, and that was curtains on the series. So it's disappointing, but I root for Tampa to go win the Stanley Cup because I want the team that beats my team to win the whole thing, and that's what I hope out of the Lightning.
Woj?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking to go up 2-0 and be like, you know what? I know there's fans out there that are trying to ego us better. And I knew it was going to come back to bite us in the ass because, of course, they started chanting Igor at the end of the either game 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, not 7, fuck up this, whatever we lost to. I mean, I think they'll be back somewhat close. I hope we don't take the Islanders approach where we make it that far, and then the next season was it last season they made the Eastern Conference Finals or the year before?
Both.
Oh, geez, that sucks. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be back. I don't see there's a lot of question marks on who's coming back next year, but I think the team has a good enough core and they have some pieces where if they have to be a trade or something like that, I think they'll definitely be back in contention next year.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on over the offseason, but that's another topic for another episode, like in particular. But I just want to say that if Trouba doesn't have, I'm not blaming the entire Game 3 loss on Trouba, but it was definitely a major factor. If he doesn't take 3 penalties and Kucherov doesn't score that first power play goal, we might be talking about a Game 7 right now. Because knowing how the rest of the series transpired, that very well may have gone 7.
Yeah.
You just never know in playoff hockey. Go ahead, Liam.
Oh, yeah, Liam, you go first.
I disagree, actually. I think if the penalties did not happen, I think we would have won the series earlier, quite frankly. That's how important it was, because we had control of Game 3. We were up 2-0. And once Trouba took one of those penalties, put Tampa on the power play, and Kucherov scored, that's when all the momentum went to Tampa Bay, and they never, ever relinquished it. And, Shades, you mentioned, just one split-second decision that could change the entire series. Bro, if Strome hit that open net, if Strome was healthy, or if there was somebody else who was healthy in Strome's spot during Game 5 and just hit that open net, we would have gone back for a Game 7. If we lost in 7, I would have been fine, whatever, but I wish we just had the chance because we were really good at home and we would have given them a fight. And we deserved that Game 5 win. We really did.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to hit your open nets when you have the chances. If we do that, we might have won, but it's kind of like I said, we lost kind of a moot point now, but I feel like there was a little too much blame on the refs in that particular game because I was immediately going, no, throw that narrative out. You can't miss 3 open nets. End of story. So that's just me.
Until going into Game 1, as soon as we got the match against Lightning, I was like, you know what? If we lose, it's fine. I get it. They're repeat champions for a reason. But once we go up 2-0 in the series, then 2 up in Game 3, it stings a little bit more. And like you mentioned before, the special teams, I think they go into next year week mediocre or less than mediocre on 5v5. They got better towards the end of the season. I think one of you guys did the last time, and they're gonna have to learn that we just can't rely on special teams, especially the power in the off season, because in the playoffs, because You may get those calls, you may not, and that's essentially what made them lose the last few games.
I would love to see an alternative universe where their power play is on fire during the offseason. That would be kind of fascinating.
And Woj, just bouncing off your point real quick, the Rangers didn't get a lot of calls in round 1 against the Penguins. It wasn't until game 6 or 7 where we actually got power play opportunities, and that's when we really ran with it. So we had to adjust our 5-on-5 play. That's really a good point. We easily could, we easily could have gotten bounced by Pittsburgh in 5 games. It easily could have happened. And, because we started getting those calls, because the power play had a chance to come on the ice, we started scoring more, we got more confidence, and we won the series. So it really does matter. And Chris Drury, as happy and as smiley as he was during his press conference and as many nice things as he had to say, that's great and all, but you need to improve the 5-on-5 play. We were the worst 5-on-5 team of the 16 teams that made the playoffs. And we made it to the conference finals. Doesn't that say something? Doesn't that say if you fix the glaring hole, you might just be able to push it over the top? And just one more point I just wanted to make. You were talking about before Mike Smith, right? In 2010 or 2012 when he took the Coyotes to the conference final. Well, the team that they lost to, in the conference final were the Chicago Blackhawks. And in 2009, the Blackhawks were a young team like the Rangers with Patty Kane, Jonathan Toews. And you know what? They made it to the conference finals, but they lost to the Detroit Red Wings, who won the Stanley Cup the previous year. And that's kind of what I see with this Rangers group. I see a young team on the cusp of something great, just like the Blackhawks were in 2008. So,
yeah, man, it's gonna be this is gonna be a long off season in a bad way. But I just also I forgot to point this out. This was like the 1 year since I've started watching that the Rangers power play was actually good in the playoffs.
Yeah,
which was fucking mind blowing because I'm literally watching these games going, oh my God, our power play is actually good. Yeah. Why do we suck 5-on-5?
You know what? In hindsight, it's crazy to see that I'm blinking on my point already. It's crazy to see how well they did with them being so bad on 5-on-5, because especially those last few games in Tampa, they were close 2-1. I think John Cooper said it 2-1, 3-1. They're such close games throughout the entire time. I wouldn't be surprised if we got shut out or stumped those last few games, losing 5-1, 6-2. For them to be able to hang on tight against Tampa is pretty crazy, especially against how well they play.
Igor, baby.
Yeah, that's another answer too.
And the one goal we scored in Game 6 was on the power play, Frankie.
Yeah.
So I think that wraps it up really nicely. And yeah, this team needs some 5-on-5 scoring, and Kopp and Vetrano helped, but you need more than that. You do. You need Kopp, Vetrano, and more, because that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning throw at you.
Yeah.
They didn't pay 2 first-round picks for Brandon Hagel for nothing. You guys saw how good Hagel was in that series. He's one of the best forwards.
Yeah, but it still stings. But at the same time, this team has a bright future if they can just tweak the forward group a little bit, because I honestly think that's all it's going to take.
Oh, I think I know an answer, Shade, so you're not going to like it.
Yeah, hit me.
Patrick Kane.
I mean, I would be open to having Patrick Kane.
Okay. All right, good. I thought you'd be on the opposite side of, maybe not, but
that depends. At his full cap hit.
No. I'm assuming they retain to get more back, because they only have him for a year. They're not doing anything next year.
No, I'd be open to Patty Kane. I mean, especially if
back with Panarin.
Well, that would be wonderful. But especially if Kakko doesn't take a giant leap forward next year. I don't want to say he would be a nice insurance policy, but I mean he'd be a bona fide top 6 forward that this team could desperately use.
Yeah. How about you put Kakko in the deal?
Yeah, I have a feeling that might happen, because especially we can transition into that, especially what happened with that Game 6 scratch that we really didn't mention yet.
Yeah, the Game 6. Scratch.
Yeah, that was I was infuriated at that, and I was even more infuriated after the fact when it said, or when it came out, the news that Kakko didn't find out until he saw the lineup. I'm like, how do you not tell a player that you're not playing him? That's a coward move, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
You can go first.
Yeah, I think it can be seen as a cowardly decision by Gallant. I trust his decision making. I mean, I understand why he wanted to have Dryden Hunt in the lineup. Because I mentioned this the first time we recorded. For me in the playoffs, I didn't see much use in having Capo Caco in the lineup if he's A, not going to be in the top six, or B, not going to be on the kid line. And Gallant's decision was to break up the kid line. And if you're breaking up the kid line, then guess what? There's only two places Caco goes: the top six, where he's not going, or the fourth line. And for me, Caco makes no sense on the fourth line. Dryden Hunt makes more sense playing on the fourth line than Caco does. That's why I can't really be upset at Gallant's decision. With that said, them not telling Caco beforehand is some bullshit. And if that, wasn't a mistake, then I can let it slide. But, I have a feeling it certainly wasn't. And it was the coaching staff not really willing to, just be straightforward with their young player. They're holding back. And that's something you can't do, because then you lose the trust of the player with the organization. Look what happened to Kravtsov, right? They said, Kravtsov's going to get a top six role on this team coming out of training camp. They sent him down to the AHL, and he said, fuck that, and he dipped. So, it's kind of where I'm at with the situation. You need to be very meticulous with your young guys, and Gallant wasn't in that spot.
Yeah, not to harp on the Kravtsov situation, but I did not think he deserved to start the season in Hartford with what we went into the season with.
And I think what happened last year was I think the promise to Kravtsov was made from Gordon. I remember hearing the story back in the beginning of the season that the promise was made from Gordon and it didn't come from Jury. But once he took over as GM, and I think Jury or Gallant wanted to, hey, go down for a game or two. I think I don't know if it had something to do with the cap or just to get somebody up first or to clear waivers, but they're like, go down for a few games and you're coming right back up and you'll be in the lineup. And then he's like, no, screw that, just send me to Russia.
Yeah. Anyway, let's
but it's real quick. It sounds like the relationship's a little bit better because he did sign the deal to come back. And he did say to one of the reporters that he does want to play for the Rangers. He doesn't want to go somewhere else.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Look, Kravtsov is a good player. I don't know if you guys saw him, but during the preseason when the Rangers had the games with the Islanders in Bridgeport, he looked nasty. He looked like a guy on the power play that you could pair parallel to Zibanejad and have pretty good attack from one-timers on each side. But like Kravtsov, I want to see him get his chance. But look, you signed him to a 1-year deal. Now you can trade him if you really want to.
Yeah.
So the options are open.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on from that. So we got the Stanley Cup Final. Finally, it only took until June 15th to get started. And I just would like to point this out because I forgot to at the very beginning of recording that this is actually the second time we're doing this episode because my dumbass forgot to hit record on Monday.
That happens.
It happens.
Yeah, that was a major L, and I've been getting a lot of those lately. But Avalanche versus Lightning. McKinnon finally making the Stanley Cup Final. Tampa going for the three-peat. I'm just gonna give my opinion here. This is gonna be the best Stanley Cup Final since Chicago, Tampa Bay in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, this is also very interesting because I don't know if I showed you guys this, but the goaltending stats for Colorado are pretty fascinating. Kemper 6'2" with an .897 save percentage and a .265 goals against. Francouz 6-0 with a .906 save percentage and 2.86 goals against with the shutout. How in the hell does a team lose 2 games in a 14-game span with save percentages of .897 and .906? The answer, that is a sign of a great team. Liam, I'm going to throw it over to you for your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a sign of a team that's a goal-scoring juggernaut. And real quick, before I make my point on the Avs, I just want to go back real quick to what you said. The most entertaining Stanley Cup Final since Tampa Bay, Chicago. So more entertaining than the Pittsburgh and the Sharks, Nashville, and Pittsburgh. I think personally, even though it wasn't close, Vegas and Washington was a fun series. And so was St. Louis and Boston. I thoroughly enjoyed both of those. Yeah, and I think the last 3 have been a little bit predictable. Or last 2 rather have been a little bit predictable. So yeah, I think I can agree with you on that. I can get on board. But yeah, the Colorado Avalanche, they got everything. I mean, they got depth on top of depth on top of depth. They have guys from Lehkonen to Mikko Rantanen to Gabriel Landeskog, who's their captain. Nathan McKinnon's one of the best players in the world. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is an underrated bottom six guy. Devon Tays is absolutely incredible on the back end. Kel McCarr might be the best defenseman since Bobby Orr. So if Wayne Gretzky said it, are you going to disagree with Wayne, right? So this team is just absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, and Shade, you said it yourself, their goaltenders had a 900 save percentage between the two, if you combine them both, and they're still winning games handily. And that just goes to show just how dominant they are. They're well coached. They're well structured defensively. No team can match their goal scoring. And if their goaltending can hold up, then they can win the Stanley Cup. But for me, I just don't know if they're going to be celebrating a Stanley Cup win with Darcy Kemper or Pavel Francouz in the net. I just don't see it. And that's why, by default, right, the Lightning have to be your choice. But I'll let you guys give your takes. Woj, what do you think?
There's some teams just play better in front of different goalies. It helps that Francouz is 6-0, you said. I don't know how good Kepler's going to be coming back from the eye injury. I don't know how serious that is, if they're going to put him in early before he's fully ready. But it's tough. I think Colorado has all the pieces. I don't think Tampa is as good as they were last year. I think this is going to be a very good Stanley Cup final. And I can't remember, did they have fans last year? Or was it half capacity? I don't recall.
Pretty sure it was half capacity.
Half. All right. Well, now it's going to be full, and especially in two cities where it's going to be pretty insane. I don't want to bet against the Lightning because the Lightning, and they've won 2 years in a row, but I'm going to have to go Colorado in 6, I think. I think they have the pieces. I think they're ready, and I think Tampa's, I don't know if they can do it this year. So I'm going to go with Colorado.
All right, Liam, what's your official prediction?
Right, because I know that my tone might have sounded a little bit different than Monday, right? Because I took the Avs on Monday, but having a couple days to think about it, guys, I do agree with Woj when he said that this Lightning team is not as good as the last 2 years. I'm 100% with that. Braden Point, you don't know if he's fully healthy.
Actually, it sounds like he's good to go for tonight.
Right, and I think him being in and him being fully healthy are two different things. I think that he's healthy enough to play. I don't know if he's healthy enough to make an impact, kind of like a Strome kind of deal. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Lightning in 7 games. I just think the goaltending is too questionable. And the matchup between the two, Vasilevsky versus a combination of Kemper coming off an eye injury or Pavel Francouz, for me, that sways too much in the direction of the Lightning for me to give the Avs the win. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Avs time is coming. It's right now. But the Lightning are the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, so I got to put some respect on their name.
All right, and I respect that. No pun intended. But
real quick, Shades. Last year, I think, what was the line? It was Coleman, Gaudreau, and
Coleman, Gaudreau, and Gord.
If that was talked about the entire playoff run, that the entire time that was pretty much the heart and soul of their team. They don't really have that this year. I mean, they have Hagel and Paul. I don't know if they play on the same line, but it seems like they've all been doing something a little separately. And what was the line a couple of years ago? It was Tyler Johnson, Kucherov, and Palat. I think Palat. What do they call them? I can't remember what it was.
The triplets.
Triplets. They had these storylines with how the depth guys are so good. And they don't have anything like those two lines. So I think that's going to come back to, not be in their favor. I don't think they're as deep as they were. Yeah.
And let me say, I think there's an argument to be made where the Colorado Avalanche are the deeper team. Forward-wise, being able to roll all 4 lines, there's an argument for the Avalanche. For me, it's just going to come down to the goaltending. But if Francouz or Kemper holds up, then hell yeah, the Avs can win the Cup. They definitely can.
Yeah, the real question becomes, how many goals can they get past Vasilevsky?
Yeah.
Because I honestly think if Tampa had any other goalie besides Vasilevsky, they're hands down a loss for the series.
For sure.
They would have lost to Toronto if they didn't have Vasilevsky.
But I will
say, I love the Rangers so much, but the Colorado Avalanche are in a different stratosphere with their offense than the Rangers are.
They would have had their way with the Rangers, for sure.
They would have. Yeah.
All right, well, time to give my official prediction. I want to pick the Avalanche so damn badly. I really, really do. But I just don't know how many they can get past Vasilevsky. I just don't. Because you look at their road to the final. I mean, Nashville was a joke. They probably never should have been in the playoffs to begin with. Thank you, Vegas, for getting injured. They got past St. Louis in what I thought was the best series out of the whole West playoffs.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, St. Louis was the second best team out of the entire West. Too bad, that's a second round matchup, but that's a rabbit hole I don't want to get into. And Edmonton, Mike Smith. So I honestly, how we were saying the narrative of, the Rangers are finally, okay, well, we weren't saying it, but the narrative was out there that the Rangers were finally playing a legitimate goaltender, and then they ended up losing. I honestly think this could be the same thing, because I don't know. I don't see Francouz or Kemper out battling Vasilevsky. And this is just, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I just want to add something. Igor Shesterkin was the second best goaltender in this playoffs, and the Rangers still lost in 6 to Tampa. Like the goaltending matchup, Vasilevsky versus Shesterkin, that's relatively even. I mean, playoff Vasilevsky we know is a different animal, but Shesterkin this year is the best goalie in the world. And now Colorado, we're right on. Me and you are right on the same wavelength. The goaltending is just too much of a difference maker.
Yeah, so with all that being said, I have to say Tampa. Yeah. Oh, actually, I keep forgetting Colorado hasn't lost a road game all playoffs.
Jeez, I forgot. I did not know
Shoot.
that.
You know what?
They're not winning both in Tampa.
No.
They might win one.
I'll go Tampa in 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it's a little funny because they both play in the same place now, but betting against Vasilevsky is like betting against Tom Brady. You just can't do it. Because, they showed his numbers before Game 6 against the Rangers.
Yep.
He was, 6 or 7-0 or something like that, and he had a point 16 goals against. I don't even know what the stat was. It was just crazy.
Oh, are you talking about like the clinching games?
Yeah, 0.99 for save percentage. It's just he's just too good.
Okay, this was on Sunday that I saw this. Last 8 series clinching games for Vasilevsky, just to prove Woj's point. 0.25 goals against, 991 save percentage. God, and 6 shutouts. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to go with Tampa. But I will say this. Colorado is my pick to win the 2023 Stanley Cup.
You're just getting ahead of yourself for next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Well, I mean, they have the cap space and they have their core signed long term.
Yeah.
So
what did you say they have 25 million?
Yeah, 25 or 26. It's up there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Sakic's the best GM in the league. He really is. Up there with Yzerman. I think Yzerman's probably the best, but Sakic.
Yeah, that's
it's Sakic's baby taking on Yzerman's baby in the Stanley Cup. How about that?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that one.
Sure.
Too bad.
Give Detroit a few more years.
Yeah. Too bad Yzerman's not the GM of Tampa anymore. No, dude, Detroit is going to be good. Oh, absolutely. But dude, now that Woj said it, Detroit is going to be good. Yeah. So Woj, you said you have Avs in 6?
I want to change it to Tampa in 7. I just proved my point completely wrong each time I open my mouth, so I'm going with Tampa in 7.
All right, Liam, you got Tampa too, right?
Tampa in 6 games.
Tampa in 6.
Who wins tonight? Who wins the first game?
Avalanche. I think they take game 1, just like the Rangers did. Remember, the Rangers took game 1 and we still lost in 6.
I'll make a bold prediction right now saying Tampa's winning tonight. Colorado's winning games 2 and 3. Tampa's winning game 4. And then it's going to be best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I said that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because you guys know my luck. Yeah. And that is the Stanley Cup Final. Let's see who raises the cup at the end of all of it. So now, this is the part I've been getting to. This is episode 21. I got some cards. We're gonna play a quick game
Oh.
of blackjack.
God.
Hey, you're lucky there's nothing on the line here. So I'm shuffling the cards right now. We're gonna who wants to go first? You, Woj, or Liam?
Woj, let Woj go first.
All right. 4. Liam's card. 3. Mine. I swear this isn't rigged. Queen. All right. Woj, queen for 14. Liam, 5 for 8. And me. All right. I swear this is not rigged. I literally just shuffled the cards.
Oh God.
Okay.
This is the most rigged thing I've ever seen.
All right. We're gonna. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna put those 6 cards away, and we're gonna start fresh because I like to be fair. Okay. We're going Woj first.
Yeah, what was that? 2?
Okay. King.
Okay.
King for Woj. Jesus Christ, Liam. I'm sorry. A 2 for Liam. And then I got an 8. All right. Woj. Ooh, 10 for 20. Liam, queen for 12. And then me, 3 for 11. Woj, 20. Hit or stay?
Stay.
Stay. Liam, I'm assuming, well, I mean, you kind of have to hit. So hit.
Yeah, I'll hit. Yep.
Ooh, 9. All right. All right.
That's a dub.
That's a stay. And I need a fucking 10 or a face card. 5. Right? Yeah, 5. 16, I got a hit. 19. That was a 3, by the way. And 29. All right, let's do best of 3 here. I'm throwing those cards away. All right, Woj, 2. Liam, 6. Me, 6. Woj, ace for a 3 or an 11. Liam, an 8 for a 14. And me, a jack for a 16. Woj, hit or stay? First of all, 1 or 11?
1.
All right, so 3. You're hitting. I already know that.
Yeah.
7, 10.
Oh.
That is a 10 for a 20. Liam, 14. You have to hit, so I'm hitting for you. That is a king for a bust. And I'm hitting because I have to. 9 for 25. End all, be all, winner take all right here for absolutely nothing, but we're doing this anyway. Woj, you got a 7. Liam, you got a 6. I got a 7. Woj, you got a queen for 17. Liam, a 3 for 9. And me, a 2 for 9. Woj, stay or hit at 17?
Hit.
Hit. 27. You out. Liam, you have a 9. And we both have 9, so I'm hitting for you. Jack for 19.
All right.
Stay or hit?
You only live. Stay. I was
All
gonna
right.
say you only live once, but stay.
Let's see how smart your decision was. I got a hit. 10 for, dear fuck.
We're tied, aren't we?
19. All right. I mean, I'm staying. All right. Winner take all. Round 2. Just between me and Liam. Liam, this is going to you. 6. Me, 5. 7 to Liam for 13. 4 to me for 9. 13, Liam.
I'll hit on that.
4 for 17. Hit or stay?
What do you think, Woj?
I'd stay. Cheating on the bus.
Stay.
Okay.
Stay.
And I got a king for 19. So I win.
Hit.
Yay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Pucks and Brews. Follow us, like, comment, subscribe, share. All of our social media stuff is in the description box below. We will be back for after the Stanley Cup Final. Have a good one.